Aloha and good afternoon. Thanks for watching. This is Now. New at noon, nearly 11 months after the Maui wildfires, Hawaii's Governor Josh Green has announced an interim housing program for fire survivors.
Displaced residents can now apply to several state-sponsored housing sites. Officials say the properties have a mix of studio, 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units, as well as modular homes. Multi-generational families can be clustered together. The sites include Hale'olaie, which currently has more than 150 units. Now, there is no cost to apply to the program, and those placed in interim housing will not be required to pay rent or utility bills through August 2025. We have details on what documentation you'll need and a link to apply on our website, hawaiinewsnow.com. President Biden is looking to assure party leaders that he's fit to continue his re-election campaign. Questions from elected Democrats and voters are rising following the president's debate with former President Donald Trump last week. Meanwhile, Mr. Trump's sentencing date has been pushed back. Skylar Henry has the latest.
The White House says President Biden is fit to do the job.
He knows how to do the job, not because he says it, because his record proves it.
Administration officials say despite what they call his bad performance during last week's debate, his legislative record speaks for itself.
He understands that he's not a young man, obviously. He said this. But his focus is going to continue to deliver for the American people.
Though Texas Congressman Lloyd Doggett became the first Democratic lawmaker to call on the president to step aside Tuesday. Writing in part, he's hopeful that Biden will make the painful and difficult decision to withdraw. On Monday, President Biden once again tried to rebound, calling out the Supreme Court for ruling that presidents enjoy broad immunity for official acts while in office.
It's a terrible disservice to the people of this nation.
The ruling is likely delaying any trial that former President Trump would face until after the November election.
What Judge Chutkan is going to do is go one by one after they brief the issue for her and hear arguments, and she's going to make a decision.
Following the Supreme Court's decision, the judge who presided over the so-called New York hush money trial agreed to postpone Trump's sentencing until September 18th, 2 days before early voting begins in several states.
Trump's attorneys also want his 34-count conviction in the trial to be thrown out. Meanwhile, top Democrats continue to close ranks around Biden, but admit there are concerns within the party.
Is this an episode or is this a condition? And so when people ask that question, it's completely legitimate of both candidates.
The president now plans to meet with Democratic governors himself Wednesday to shore up support for his re-election bid. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Hurricane Beryl is flattening parts of the Caribbean. The Category 5 storm has winds of up to 165 miles per hour, and we've never had a storm this strong so early in the year. Tom Hansen is in Jamaica, Beryl's next potential target.
With its ferocious winds topping 150 miles per hour, Hurricane Beryl devastated the eastern Caribbean's windward islands of Grenada, Barbados, and St. Vincent, turning this tropical paradise to heartbreak for the many that lived there.
It has been a long morning, and perhaps an even longer morning for our brothers and sisters in Carriacou and Petit Martinique who are bearing the brunt of Hurricane Beryl.
Beryl made landfall as a Category 4 on the northern islands of Grenada just after 11 a.m. yesterday. It's expected to be the strongest hurricane on record there. Beryl's strength and arrival in this region is not only unusually early for hurricane season, but it's also being fueled by abnormally warm waters that have reached the mid-80s. Barbados saw widespread coastal flooding. Storm surge that was predicted to reach 6 to 9 feet swamped the island, while inundating streets with a mix of sand, mud, debris, and water.
The damage is, right now, I'm real heartbroken because this is a lot of work.
Now it's Jamaica on high alert. Hurricane force impacts are expected here Wednesday.
I have seen a lot of hurricanes, but I am not too worried about this yet. But I think when it's closer, we will have a better idea.
One tourist from Illinois said he's enjoying time on the beach, but also ready to prepare if Hurricane Beryl strikes.
We're here. There's nothing we can really do. We're just going to batten down and ride it out.
And Jamaica is currently under a hurricane warning. We're expecting to see far more preparations today as the storm closes in. That rain and those powerful winds are expected to push in early tomorrow. Tom Hansen, CBS News, Montego Bay, Jamaica.
A break-in and a fatal hit-and-run case on Maui. Police arrested a 30-year-old woman for the crash, which killed a man in Kahului. Police say this red sedan ran over 57-year-old Jesus Mitao as he laid in the middle of Lono Avenue on May 27th. Charges have not been officially filed against the woman, and she's been released pending investigation. But court records show she appears to have a record of driving without a license and insurance. Police are investigating an armed robbery out of Kapolei. The suspects involved are all teens. It happened at around 1:30 Sunday morning when police say two 17-year-olds and a 19-year-old pulled up to a business. Two were armed with guns and they took cash and other items. The third teen acted as the getaway driver. All three were located shortly after and taken into custody. They're facing first-degree robbery charges but have been released pending investigation. Vance Wynn has been charged for a Waikiki bank robbery over the weekend. Officials say the 49-year-old walked into the Bank of Hawaii on Kalakaua Avenue at around 10 a.m. Saturday when he allegedly handed a note to the teller that said he had a gun. He then demanded money. Wynn made off with an unknown amount of cash but was arrested the next morning. His bail has been set at $11,000.
Meanwhile, the man who allegedly led police on a chase from Leeward Oahu to the windward side has pleaded not guilty to 7 felony charges. Josiah Waylon Vieira is accused of carjacking a pickup truck 2 weeks ago in Nanakuli. He headed over the H32 Kaneohe, where HPD says he rammed a police cruiser. The 26-year-old is being held on $300,000 bail. His trial is set for September. And Honolulu police are still looking for the person who shot a 15-year-old boy in Waianae. This happened around 9:30 a.m. Sunday on Alawalua Street. Honolulu EMS treated and transported the teen for arm and leg injuries. And we've learned that this was not a random shooting. HPD is asking for any witnesses to come forward. And on Maui, 2 19-year-olds were taken into custody after they allegedly were hunting on a kula property owned by Oprah Winfrey. DLNR says on June 21st, they were seen using a spotlight to hunt from a truck near Thompson and Kamole roads. After searching the vehicle, officers allegedly found a loaded shotgun and an unregistered loaded rifle, and neither had a valid hunting license. The case has been referred to Maui prosecutors. Nearly a year after 20 homes burned in UpCountry Maui, residents there are now better prepared to fight fires. But as our Lynn Kawano reports, their access to water comes with a big catch.
Essentially, this hose connects to this pipe. Basically, just screw it on.
Kula residents on Kualona Place are all trained to use this standpipe if another wildfire breaks out.
And here's the hose. You basically turn it on and water will come flying out of it. And there's tons of pressure in this thing. This will shoot probably a good 80 to 100 feet.
Donated hoses and a wrench are nearby to operate the hydrant until firefighters arrive.
The only problem with that, the system runs off electricity. So if the power goes out, the water won't flow.
That happened on August 8th as flames roared through UpCountry Maui, consuming 24 homes. One of those, Mark Ross's, at the corner of Kualona Place and Haleakala Highway. This is what his property looks like now, a dirt lot where his dream home once stood.
Literally, there was just one water truck that got here. And when he got here, he emptied out his load of water onto the fire, went to the standpipe, hooked up, no pressure, had to go down the hill to refill. And every time he did it, it was a 20, 30-minute turnaround, and the fire got bigger and bigger and bigger. And once it got into the gulch, it was over.
We all had our hoses ready, but we couldn't do anything. So everybody was bringing pots and pans, buckets, containers, anything you could find, and just go up and grab some water.
At a public Zoom meeting last month, UpCountry residents asked MEMA, the Maui Emergency Management Agency, about installing backup power for the hydrants.
The conversations are beginning, the plans are under development, but they are not complete yet.
MEMA's administrator told the residents online that backup power generators have been ordered by the county water department, but said he didn't know if Kula was on the list.
There's huge effort to back up power countywide, and obviously that's going to be based on, priority where the most risk or vulnerability exists.
While they wait for government to make the changes, UpCountry residents have joined together to do what they can to prepare for fire season, clearing invasive plants and trees that fuel fires.
Basically, there you go. I just pulled that entire wattle.
And practicing to use the hydrants that may or may not work when they are needed. In Kula, I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
Looking now towards the race for Hawaii County Mayor, mayoral candidate Brianni Kobayashi has landed a major endorsement from former Mayor Harry Kim. Now 85 years old, Kim served 3 terms as mayor and 16 years as Hawaii County's Civil Defense Director. He's quoted as saying Kobayashi is gifted, trusted, and respected and is committed to the community as her life's mission. She currently chairs the Hawaii Island United Way and serves on several boards and nonprofits. Incumbent Mitch Roth said in a statement that he has a great deal of respect for Mayor Kim and Ms. Kobayashi, but he stands behind his record of forging a sustainable Hawaii Island, and he looks forward to the primary election on August 10th. Honolulu Skyline has officially marked 1 year in service to the public, but what is it actually costing to run the rail? As our Daryl Huff reports, city and rail leaders say that once more has been built, they believe the riders will come.
Public transit systems never pay for themselves. In a typical city, you're lucky if fares cover 20% while taxpayers cover 80%. Right now, Honolulu's combined rail and bus system is falling well short of that. Getting rail running after so many years of delays and cost overruns, and its high performance since, has city and rail leaders proud.
They expected us to perform, and we did, and I'm really proud of that.
But because the opening segment from Kapolei to a shut-down Aloha Stadium doesn't serve many employment centers, ridership has been disappointing. Just over 1,100,000 trips, just over 3,000 a day. But its operations have been nearly flawless.
So far, this has been the best start and implementation of a driverless system in the world.
Skyline is the newest of 13 automated rail systems operated and maintained worldwide by Hitachi Rail Systems, which says it's meeting the 99.5% of its operational goals, which are enforced by city payments.
Some months were shallow of 99.5, 99.2. There is a penalty and there's a deduction that's associated with it.
Hitachi's 250 employees, its trains and operating system are the biggest element of Skyline's $85 million annual cost. But with the low ridership, the estimate of fare collections is tiny, only about $600,000, not even 1% of the cost. But looking at the bus and rail system together, it gets better. The bus relies about 80% on taxpayers for support, combined with Skyline's 99% subsidy. Overall, taxpayers are covering 87% of the whole system. But as the line lengthens to Pearl Harbor, the airport, downtown, and Kaka'ako, the proportion fares will pay will improve.
I'd like to see it get to our target of 35% by the time we open in town.
For some people, the numbers are already in the black.
It's, paid for by the government. They supplement the cost on a monthly basis. So it really saves a lot of money. I'd rather do this than spend $300 a month on gas.
Christopher Jaguerta says he's saved enough to buy the scooter he takes on the train.
This thing pays for itself after, let's say, 3 months if you do the math.
Like any other one-year-old, Skyline still has a lot of growing to do, and city officials say as people are attracted away from their cars, there will be social, environmental, and financial benefits that will make it worth it. Reporting from Halava, Daryl Huff, Hawaii News Now.
And an update now to a story out of Kauai. We told you about a theft at Paradise Grinds and Catering in late May. The thieves, who came back to apologize, took items the restaurant was planning to use for their scholarship dinner. Well, as mentioned, donations poured in following the burglary, and the items were replaced by Waihata and other community donors. The family behind the business recently held the scholarship dinner for their recipients. In total, there were 8 students from the 3 public high schools.
All right, let's take a live look outside. This is San Francisco, the city by the bay. That's the Golden Gate Bridge over there. The temperature, 81 degrees on this July 2nd. So what's happening in our local forecast? Guy's going to have it after this quick break.
How's it on this Tuesday? As you can see from a bird's eye perspective, things are still very quiet here in the Central Pacific. We don't have any hurricanes, tropical storms, tropical depressions to worry about. And we don't have much rain either. Just a few showers this morning for a handful of windward spots. And the nature of the showers that they're mostly light and they're moving through rather quickly, so that limits the rainfall buildups, flooding not an issue. And those winds slow in picking up, but they'll be running at breezy levels, especially from Maui all the way to Kauai. It's going to be windy for the Kohala area of Hawaii Island. Lighter winds, of course, over in Kona. So we've got a standard textbook trading weather day. The weather's basically on cruise control. Don't expect a whole lot of rain. A few passing splashes are probably expected. And then we'll see lots of afternoon sunshine. High temperatures running into the upper 80s, especially warm for those leeward areas like Kihei, Keikaha, and Waianae. Not a whole lot of surf to speak of. Biggest waves rolling into south and east shores. And South Shore's heads up. Box jellyfish likely swimming in to a handful of spots out there. So check with lifeguards just to be safe. Now, as far as the weather, it's not going to change very much. We've got the strongest winds both today and tomorrow. Rainfall, again, minimal, favoring windward and Mauka areas overnight and early morning. And then those winds start to back off as we head into the weekend. And the weather pattern, though, not going to change. So high temperature every day is going to climb into the upper 80s.
On Tuesday, the Food and Drug Administration approved Eli Lilly's Alzheimer medication, donanemab. The new treatment is a monoclonal antibody designed to slow the progression of early stages of Alzheimer's. In June, a panel of independent FDA advisors agreed the drug was safe and effective. It will be sold under the name Kisunla and costs $695 a vial before insurance. That would come to about $12,500 for a 6-month course, or roughly $32,000 for a year, depending on the length of the treatment. Right now, there's no cure for Alzheimer's, but clinical trials showed the drug slowed the progression of the disease, allowing patients to live independent lives for longer. Eli Lilly said 2% of patients experienced certain serious adverse effects during the trial.
Sodas, hot dogs, and packaged bread sound like your 4th of July grocery list? Well, a new study is suggesting that ultra-processed foods, those convenient and ready to use, could be cutting your life short. Julia Vargas-Jones joins us with the health risks these foods hold.
Yeah, Emily, processed foods are everywhere, and this new study seems to show they're even more dangerous than we thought.
A preliminary study tracking over 500,000 people for nearly 3 decades found that eating higher levels of ultra-processed food may shorten lifespans by 15% for men and 14% for women. One of the greatest culprits, experts say,
is sodas and sugar-sweetened beverages.
Processed meats such as bacon, sausages, and deli meats also rank high, linked to heart disease and diabetes. Another recent study found consumption of ultra-processed foods has doubled between the mid-1980s and 2018. These items now making up as much as 60% of the average American diet.
They're leading to inflammation. They're leading to more fat storage, causing high amounts of sodium, which is leading to elevated blood pressure, which also increases your risk of stroke. Artificial ingredients have also linked to cancer. Specifically, processed meats have been considered a carcinogen.
Choosing whole foods can make a significant difference in long-term health.
That means it's a single ingredient food like apple, grape, orange, cucumber, potato, chicken. Those are one ingredient foods. Those are the foods we really want to focus on.
But if your cravings won't subside,
pick your poison. Maybe it's a hot dog. Maybe it's a regular soda or diet soda. And have it very infrequently for special occasions.
And Emily, the study also found that even people that are in what it's considered a normal weight, they're still at a higher risk of an earlier death if they are consuming these super processed foods.
Yes, thank you for your reporting, Julia. And, you know, the 4th of July is just a few days away. What suggestions do you have for a menu that is free of ultra-processed foods?
Yeah, I know it can be daunting to kind of shop for a holiday after all of the reporting we just shared. But look, one of the things that people can do is swap that hot dog, that ultra-processed hot dog, for a fresh chicken or turkey sausage, or even a leaner beef patty. Those changes can actually help a lot. Just look out for any ingredients on the ingredients list that you can't pronounce. Also, you know, when you're thinking about your sides, try to think of fresh ingredients. A salad, maybe a caprese salad. Maybe you go for a veggie dip tray. Just try to stick in those one ingredient meals there. And then dessert, try for a fresh, cold fruit salad on a hot summer day. And for the kids, yes, it's allowed to have popsicles. Just make sure that they're made with fruit. Emily.
Yes, those are some awesome tips, Julia. Thank you so much for your reporting.
For thousands of Hawaii families who rely on free or reduced school lunches, the summer months can be tough. Casey Lund tells us about a program that helps ensure no keiki go hungry when school's out.
Aloha from Lanakila Pacific, one of the partners that works with the DOE. This is really a nationwide program, though. Food to Summer Week, July 1st to the 5th. It's an effort to focus on those summer meals that are so crucial for keiki. Many of those families rely on the meals that they get through the DOE during the school year, but what happens during those summer months? But this really is an effort to make those meals healthy and make them sourced with local products. We want to thank all the folks here at Lanakila Pacific. They are boxing up not only meals for keiki, but also for our kapuna, their normal meal service. They do a lot of good here. But I also want to talk with Charlene Wong. We also have Curtis Haida with us from the Hawaii Children's Nutrition Program. Tell us a little bit about the idea behind the Farm to Summer.
So our Farm to Summer program really focuses on encouraging the children to eat healthy because we have so many agricultural products available in the summer. And we've been working on some local team nutrition recipes to support that. And we offer items like kabocha and sweet potato in those recipes. And our partners like Lanakila are actually preparing those recipes and serving them to their students who attend their summer feeding programs.
Yeah. And you know what? One thing I wanted to talk about, Curtis, I hope maybe you can give me a little information about this, because especially in our rural communities, not all those families have access to come to a place where there's distribution, right? So what do we do for them?
So we do box meals. So they box 7 days of meals in a box, and they come once a week to pick it up. So at ASI, we did give out about 3,500 boxes with 7 days of meals in each box.
And those are for our more rural communities where maybe there's not a center where everybody comes. But can you talk to me a little bit? You guys are proud of the work that your whole team is doing, not just the partners here at Lanakila. How big has this gotten, and what have you accomplished?
So we have over 133 summer food service sponsors, and they serve over 218,000 meals a week.
That's wonderful. And we want to remind people, too, there's some really good, I was leafing through all the recipes, Charlene, and there's some good ones, paniolo stew. Those are all on our website. But if they want to do some tasting of these, if folks want to come out and try, they can do that coming up at the end of the month, right?
At Foodland Farms in Pearl City, and we'll be doing a taste testing on the 31st. From 4:30 to 6:30, so please come on down and sample the paniolo stew.
Excellent. Curtis, Charlene with us from the Hawaii Children's Nutrition Program. This is a great thing that's happening. For many of those families, as we know from the Hawaii Food Bank, 1 in 3 families suffer from food insecurity, and it's worse during the summer months. So this is an excellent program. If you miss any of this, you want to learn how you can sign your child up or get more information, we have that at hawaiinewsnow.com. We'll send things back to you for now.
Thank you so much, Casey. All this talk about food has me so hungry.
It is
lunchtime, and I did not eat yet, folks. Let's end today with one more live look out at the Golden Gate Bridge. Friendly reminder, we got Spotlight coming up at 1 o'clock right here on Hawaii News Now.
Aloha.